Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to our Biz Jets in the Mediterranean series. We're here with the Boeing Business Jet 737-700 body, and we're currently in Kos in Greece, one of the Greek islands. Today we're going to be flying down to Larnaca, which is in Cyprus. Shorter flight today. I think we have a air time of 59 minutes, a block time of 1 hour 27 minutes. So it'll be a little bit of a shorter haul. As per normal, Kevin is flying along. He's further down the ramp. So it's time to get on board and we'll start getting the aircraft set up and ready to go. All right. So the ground crew were good enough to come and power it up and turn the lights on. We can start getting her set up ready to go. So we'll come down first. Let's do the parking brake. Make sure that is on. We'll pop up top. So the battery is on and guarded. Standby power is on auto and guarded. Emergency exit lights are on and guarded. Ground power is on. We'll now get the rest of our lights up. With the position lights over to steady. And we'll pop down here. I'll clear the cautions. And we'll get the main panel brightness up. We'll do a couple clicks on the floods. Get a little bit of panel brightness in so we can see what we're doing. There we go. We can readjust when we turn off the overhead lights. All right, moving up all the way to the top. We're going to turn on our IRSs, get them up and aligning. And then we can start in on the rest of the setup. So we'll get the seatbelt signs on. Electric hydraulic pumps can come on. Yaw damper will go on. Window heats left and right. With the fuel pump on. Turn on the APU. As soon as we get the low oil pressure, we will start her up. And we'll take a look at our route for today. So popping back over here. We'll bring up the electronic flight flag, we'll bring in the flight plan, and we'll look at the route. So we're going to take off. It looks like we'll be taking off to the northwest. We're going to circle out and around, come over the Isle of Rhodes, down across the southern part of Turkey here, down to Cyprus. There's some mountains here, so we're going to cut just north of the mountains and in and into Larnaca, which is on the southern coast of Cyprus. So not a long flight, as you can see. I can actually zoom out a little bit and see the entire map there. About an hour in the air, roughly. So we'll bring that back in like that, and it's all set. Oh, there's First Officer Molly growling away. You're okay, girl. All right, so we'll pop back up top. APU will be up and going. We can turn on the generators now. There we go. We're on APU generators. We'll get the bleed air on. Turn the packs on to get air moving in the back and make sure the isolation valve is open, and down to the FMC we go. All right, so AirAC data is good to October 3rd. Jet is correct, and we're all set there. We'll come and get our GPS position in. The aircraft now knows where we are. We'll request our flight plan. LGKO, which is cost, to LCLK, which is Larnaca. We'll request that. We'll set fuel and payload. We'll look 376 miles. It is all looking good there. So we're going to select that route and we'll bring it in. We'll clear those messages as well. So there is a area controller in Turkey currently up, but we're going to bypass him. We'll be flying south of his area, and currently nothing on down in Larnaca, but we will monitor that and see how that goes. They may pop up. You never know. We are up on VATSIM. So it'll be interesting to see. So the route's ready. We'll load it in. There it is. So we'll activate and execute our route. So that done, we can go to our departure information. So departing out of here today, we'll get the current weather. So the winds here are 11 knots, runway 320, so we're going to be using runway 32. It's VFR conditions, a few clouds. It's 23 degrees out right now, and 1012 is the barrow. So we'll set our barrow to 1012. That is now set. And we're going to be flying off on runway 32 on the Copa 3 Alpha departure. So it'll be runway 32 and the Copa 3 Alpha departure, and we will execute that. Now the runway we're going to be landing on in Larnaca is 04. Let's just check the winds. Yeah, still favoring 04. It's a bit of a crosswind, a bit of a headwind. It is windy there. Slightly lower pressure, but still no clouds and no ceiling. So we're going to be doing the RNAV for 04. Just have to watch our ceiling. It wants us to do the Bone 1 Alpha arrival. But that takes us right down to the airport. And then we'd have to manually fly out and do the RNAV. So let's put in our Larnaca arrival. This will be the RNAV on 04. On the Bone 1 Alpha for 04. Transitions. Let's just take a quick look. We want RIMX. And we're going to execute that. So if we look at our legs, we're going to head outbound. We're going to intercept. There's our departures off the VORs and off on our route. There's our descent downwards. LCA then to RIMX. And then back around. Could be interesting, so we're going to just put that in like that, and we'll see what it does. So with that done, we'll come over to our performance. That may change if the winds come around as it gets later on into the night. We'll have to see. All right, we'll load in our information and we'll execute. So our fuel reserves for today are actually going to be, it's usually 0.8. Yeah, 0.8 on the reserves. Our cruising altitude for today is not 41. We're going up to 370. I'll execute that. Transition altitude 5,000 feet is fine. And we're all set there. So back up we go. And we'll go into our performance calculator now. So we're going to be departing on runway 32. We'll bring in all that information. There it is, all there. Conditions are dry. We'll get the information in from the aircraft on our center of gravity and weights, and we'll bring in the weather now as well. So it wants us doing a TO2, and our cell temperature for today is going to be 52 degrees. So that is now set. We'll go into our takeoff. And I'm going to put the winds in first, 320 at 11. And then back over here. Flaps 1 for departure. Center of gravity will put in 1,100 feet remaining. And let's see what it gives us. 119, 120, 126. 120, 120, 126. All right, so put 119, 120, 126 is in. All right, so that is all that. We can go back over to our map and we come down to our radios. So 122.8 will be our standard radio channel. That's Honeycomb. and 121.5 on radio 2, which is the guard channel. And that is now set as well. So this is the part where we would ask for clearance, but there's nobody up at the moment, so we'll just do a radio check here on the terminal. Cost terminal, Caribou 32, radio check.
5x5, heading for broad throat, 3 Charlie Alpha.
5x5.
Cheers.
All right, so that is done. So altimeters are set. I'm going to get them to pull the doors, pull the stairs, close the doors. So altimeters are set. Transponder, we're going to go down here and squawk 1000. There we go. Fueling loading is complete. Takeoff data is all set. We are going up to the pressurization panel. We want 400 feet on the elevation and 37,000 on our cruise. That's 37,000. That's all dialed in there as we can see. That is all set. MCP. So V2 plus 10 is going to be 136. Runway heading is 323. And we're going straight to 37,000 feet. That is now set. Flight directors are now both on. Radios are set and checked. We can come outside, take a look. Oh, there's Kevin over there. They have pulled the doors and removed the stairs. Is all good, so we can get them to disconnect the ground power and pull the chocks. We're going to come up with the anti-collision light, and we are good. So we're going to request our pushback, and for today's push we're going to have to go south, so we're going to push back and we're going to go tail to the left, nose to the right. Cost area traffic, Caribou 32, stand 1, push and start facing south on Alpha. There comes our marshaller, our guide, crew chief, whatever you want to call them.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
All right, so we're going to set ourselves up here. We're going to go there with the data, and on this side, we're going to go there. Over to that. That is set. All right, so I got SPAD next. Up for the fuel control levers. Let's see if they work today. If not, I'll have to reload SPAD next again. Hopefully not. All right, tows coming in.
Locking gear.
So we're going to push back, and then path actually goes this way, so hopefully they'll follow it and then push us onto Alpha, which is right out here. And we'll be facing south since we're going to have to go down, and there's quite a backtrack here to get down. There's the nose being lifted. And we're going to want to end up going nose to the right, tail to the left.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes are now released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
Let's see what they do. So fuel pumps are coming on. There's no fuel in the center tank, so the center fuel pumps can remain off. Packs are coming off on both engines, and we're going to start engine number 2. Let's see where we end up here on the push. We seem to be swinging around nicely. All right, adding fuel. Good, heard the switch come up. There's Kevin. It looks like they got the push right. Yeah, we're on the line. They're following it around. Very nice. I love how down here in Greece they don't have to walk. They can just float along. And we're heading out to Alpha, so that's very good. There's the starter cutoff, so we're going to start engine number 1. We've also got this SPAD Next profile set up for the 777. We'll be seeing how that works on Sunday. And adding fuel for number 1. And parking brakes are set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
All right, we're ramping up. Hey, Marie, how are you? Thanks for dropping by the stream. I think I remember your name. It's been a while, I think. All right, there's starter cutoff. We can confirm engine start.
You can disconnect.
And we'll carry on with our engine start check. So generators 1 and 2 are coming on. Engine start switches are going to continuous. Probe heats 1 and 2 will come on. Engine anti-ice not required. Engine bleeds 1 and 2 are on. Packs will come to auto. Recirculation fan to auto. Isolation valve to auto. APU bleed off. APU is off. All right. Turn that off. Coming back down here now. We're going to go flaps 1 for temperature. We'll set our elevator trim at 4.78, so just over 3/4. Smalley's hearing something and growling in the background if you heard it.
Bypass pin removed.
All right.
Left is clear.
Clear that.
Right is clear.
Go over to the systems page. Do our, I'm going to be able to see it. Let's do our flight controls. Left and right. And we are good there. So engine instruments are good and up. LNAV, VNAV are set. Auto throttle is armed. Warning recall is good, and Roger will go over to the legs page. And we are good to go. Cost area traffic, Caribou 32 taxiing runway 32 via Alpha 1, backtracking 32. So brakes will go to RTO, taxi light, we'll turn the turn off lights on for some additional illumination. We'll pop up all the way up to the top and kill the internal dome light. And here we go, brakes are released. Let's taxi out. So we will be flying again on Sunday. We'll be flying the 777 out of San Francisco, heading to the great state of Hawaii. Oh, is it different, Marie? Could be. I'm doing very well, thank you. It's always a great day to go flying. As we get some nice night flights in here in the Mediterranean. There's Kevin over there. Let's see if we can get better model matching for Monday. Hopefully we can. So as we pull up here to the hold point, we're going to turn on our landing lights and get these strobes on, logo and wing lights as well, since we're going to be entering onto the runway. There's no traffic in the area, so we're good there. And we're just going to head down here to the end. So has anybody been looking at the videos that have been released now, some of the early footage from Flight Sim 2024? They had a bunch of the bigger YouTubers, Blue Games, XP72, Jeff Fabiano, Squirrel, and a bunch of others. Two-Tone Murphy was there, I believe. They went to the Grand Canyon in Arizona, and they had a whole thing where they were getting a chance to look at it and fly it and see it. And they showed a lot of the scenery updates and the terrain and the airports and all that type of stuff and how it looks. So it's getting a huge boost in how it looks, and it's already the best looking sim out there. From the ground to the clouds to the terrain mesh to the detail, all that type of stuff. There's been some videos coming out explaining about some of the performance updates and how they're updating the models and how they came up with a whole new way of trying to get them as accurate as they can. And when they went back and looked at some of the 2020 aircraft, they were finding they were about 60% of the way there. So they're all being tweaked. Whole bunch of new aircraft coming into the sim. And everybody who's been talking about it have said it's not just 2020 with a bit of polish to it. It's actually a big update, so it'll be interesting to see. Not cheap, of course. If you want the version with all the aircraft and all the airports and all that stuff, like the deluxe or whatever they're calling that edition, it's still up in that $160 range. So I'm not sure what aircraft will be ported over yet, or how soon they'll be ported over. I know PMDG stuff, Phoenix stuff will be updated to work in it and everything, so it should be pretty good. And then there's the whole new career system that you can do if you want, which could be an interesting series on the channel for something to do. Start off flying small aircraft and working your way up, and you can either go helicopters or commercial pilot or transport, cargo, or some other type of thing. It'll be interesting. But more to come. It's only a couple months away now, so it'll be very interesting. All right, so we're here at the end of the runway. Let's do our quick checks while we wait. So fuel reset is done, and even V-speeds 119, 120, 126. MCP, nav data, and radios are all checked. Position lights are strobe and steady. Taxi light is off. Turn off lights and landing lights are on. Strobes are on. Transponder is now set to TARA. Traffic is on both sides now. Let's get over here. And train radar is on my side. Runway is identified, runway 32. And the clock is running. So engine's coming up to 40%. Cost area traffic, Caribou 32 departing runway 32 on the Copar 3 Alpha departure. I think it's 3 Alpha. Yeah, 3 Alpha. All right. We are set. And we are good to go. So engines are 40% stable, brakes are released, takeoff power is set. So again, we're in between two hills here on the flat plane on this island. Should be good. Check. Slight uphill here.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. Autopilot is engaged.
Bravo 32 Charlie Alpha stand to power back.
Auto brakes
to
are
safe
off. Gear lever is off. Engine start switches are off. Runway turn-off lights are off. Nose coming down for acceleration. We're going to be flying north or pretty much westward, as you can see, until we get a little bit further out, and then we'll be making the turnaround and then climbing back up. And flaps up.
And cut traffic Bravo 32 Charlie Alpha taxiing to runway 32 by Alpha backtrack runway 32.
Alright, so you can see we're going to come up here to Cost and then Copar, and then we're going to swing around and make the turn. As we head out, accelerating to 250 knots. There's the island there. Got a nice little bit of moonlight. It's cloudless sky with a 3/4 moon, I think we have out here tonight. There she is. Apparently that's something that's bugged a lot of people. The moon's slightly too big, and they fixed it in the new Sim 2024. It's the right size now. There we go through standard pressure. I know the views aren't great here with it being nighttime and everything, but it is that time of year. It's getting darker earlier and earlier, and it is about, well, I'd say it's close to 10 p.m. when well, right now.
Cost traffic Bravo 32 Charlie Alpha entering runway 32 at Alpha 1 black flag triggering for departure on the Helios 1 Delta.
And there we go, 10,000 feet. So landing lights will come off. Logo light is off. Wing light is off. Accelerating up to our high-speed climb. And it's pretty calm out, so we'll take the seatbelts off, and the cabin crew can start treating our passengers to some drinks and light snacks for this flight. They'll be spending the weekend down here in Cyprus before we leave on Monday. And Monday we're heading down to, I believe, Alexandria. Yeah, Alexandria in Egypt. So it'll be a nice short flight for them to go down there and see the famous city of Alexandria. We'll make our final call at Copar as we depart off the SID. Cost area traffic, Caribou 32 is at Copar, climbing through flight level 157. Final call, Cost. All right, didn't go over to the next one. So we're gonna just go into here and we'll grab it. There we go. Carry on that turnout. Back into our climb page. 64 miles until we reach our cruising altitude. So we're turning around. We're going to be flying just as you can see south of the airport and the island, and then down over Rhodes, and then down towards Cyprus, which we can see down there.
Static process 32 Charlie, Alpha, running limit 32 kilos from Delta.
So there's the island there. Not sure how well you can see it. Airport's in the middle. There's mountains over there, mountains on the kind of on both sides. We landed down here in this big flat area. And then there's the shoreline of Turkey over there. It's kind of like the furthest east you can go in Greece.
Traffic Broadford 32 Charlie Alpha, currently 2,700 outbound on the left one Delta departure.
So Kevin is up. In fact, there he is down there. I can just make, well, this won't come across on the YouTube, but I can make out his lights as he's climbing out. If we get over a little bit, see there's the airport right there. There's the runway. And if you follow that out, he's climbing out directly ahead there. So very good. So we got, where are we? That's what I want. 10,000 feet to go till we're, or 9,000 now, till we're at cruise. Again, we are fairly light, big airplane, small number of people on board. Just changed the maximum number of passengers in this thing in SimBrief. I think 30 is too much, so I dropped it down to 15. something a little bit more reasonable for a private jet of this type. $6,000 to go. When you transfer to VAT USA, does KLAX require a endorsement? David, are you talking about if you're a controller or just a pilot flying? I fly into the States with the American controllers all the time. I'm not from there, so I'm not American. It's not an issue for the pilots. I don't know about controllers if they're going to be working in that sector, or what would you call it, what they require, because I know they do things differently. So if you were trained on stuff in, say, Europe, you would probably have to do some sort of training with them to learn the American way of doing it, because US is a bit different the way they do things. So I would assume that when you change sectors or change geographic locations, there would be if not a recertification, a confirmation bit you have to do. But I'm not a controller. VATSIM I just use as a pilot, so I have no idea. And it's confusing enough as a pilot, because you go from one place where they do it one way to another place where they do it a different way. Different rules, different airway structures and how you fly them and stuff like that. It is a little bit confusing at times. But yeah, there would have to be something there. Careful, Kevin, you drift too close. Oh, their airspace is down. I was going to say you drift too close to their airspace, they might ping you, but they're not up anymore. All right, so we're only 15 miles away from top of cruise. And again, we're flying the business jet. You're in Latvia division right now with staff for route, debating whether to go for Scandinavia. I would, well, I mean, the U.S., there's a lot of options. You can get smaller areas. You big airports like New York, Denver, L.A. There's smaller regions and stuff that are not as busy. Scandinavia wouldn't be bad. There's a lot of nice places up there. Plus, you got some bigger airports like Oslo and Stockholm and stuff like that. So there'd be options there. But I'm sure to moving from Europe, if you're in Latvia, down to the U.S., there'd have to be some type of change, because like I said, just from the flying aspect, I noticed that there is a difference when I'm flying in Europe like I am tonight, although there's no controllers on, to when I'm flying in the States. There is some differences in the way they do things. All right, so we're 1,000 to go. We'll get ourselves settled into the cruise, and then we'll go back into the cabin and say hi to our passengers for tonight. 20 passengers in the back. It's not a lot for a big airplane like this, but when you see how they're flying in the back, oh, do they got it good back there tonight. So as we looked at before, here's the front section where you can sit down and have a coffee. There's a little bit of a catering area back here for the staff and the cabin attendants. Coming in behind the showers and everything, and that which is located in here in the bathroom. Got this view on this lovely couch area here, and this again a nice table. You can have a little bit of a meeting or get a more formal meal here. Nice views out the windows at the engines. Oop. There's Molly barking away. And again, what's behind the area there? Once again, you've got This nice seating area back here. Again, for meetings or if it's a family flight, whatever you want to do. And then moving to the back here, if you've brought along any household staff to help with where you're headed, they'd be sitting back here. And they get the rear view of the wing. And there's the shower area, as mentioned, is right there. See with the toilet, close the doors here. Coming into the back, there's a couch over the wing there. You can see the engine. And then in here, another bathroom. So lots of bathroom space. All covered here. And the galley in the back with a lot of the stuff in the back there. So that's how they're flying in the back tonight. Yeah, they are, and in Canada, it's pretty much the same as the U.S., so it's not that bad. But yeah, different procedures and everything and stuff. And then if you do things like fly to China, oh God, it is completely different over there. For one thing, everything's in meters. In the metric system, same as Russia, which kind of throws everything off. And then certain airways are for certain altitudes, and it can be a bit of a problem. We have done flights in that area and down through there, but I remember once there was 4 or 5 of us flying, and we were in China, and the controller had to give us whole reroutes because our routing didn't make any sense to them, but it's what SimBrief gave us. So we've passed over roads. There's the bottom of, I guess this is Anatolia. There's Anatolia coming up. The bottom of Turkey here. And again, we're heading to Cyprus, which is in the eastern part of the Mediterranean. Very famous as a base of operations about 1,000 years ago for the Crusades and all that stuff. I guess leading up to before the Crusades, it was still a waypoint on the way there. So we're only 195 miles from top of descent. And short flight tonight. Kevin, where are you headed? You seem to be heading for Crete. Hello, Agav. Agav. So we're just cruising along over the water now. We'll be doing that for a while, pretty much down to spinning around to RDS. Oh, okay. Molly. Molly. Yeah, Boston's one of the bigger ones on the American East Coast. I think you'd be looking at New York, well, JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, Atlanta, Boston, probably roughly in that order. So Boston would be about the 4th or 5th biggest. It's a nice airport. I've flown out of there twice in the last couple of years. Yeah, First Officer Molly's hearing people in the hallway outside my door. She's gone into guard dog mode, protecting me while I'm here. She's not even with me in the room anymore. She lies down at the front door to make sure no one can get in and bug me while I'm doing this, which is pretty amazing. Didn't teach her that. She just does it on her own. Other big airports, if you move westwards, you got Atlanta, which I think I mentioned. Then you look at Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Denver. And then you get out to the West Coast, you know, Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and then San Diego at the bottom end. And then you get everything in between, little regional airports and all kinds of stuff. I guess Minneapolis would be a fair size one up in the central north. Lots of options. So we got a couple aircraft around us. We got 2 EasyJets, one heading to Paphos in the southwestern part of Cyprus. We've got another one heading from Larnaca to Gatwick. He's actually coming towards us. You're going to see him on the TCAS. He's right there. What's his altitude? 38. Okay, we're good there. And then there's a Turkish heading from Istanbul down to Cairo. All kind of 3 kind of in the middle there. Then there's El Al heading from where you go? Ben Garin to Kirkia in Greece. He's further out. So there is some traffic in the area today. It's just nothing controller wise really at the moment. Although we did have controllers when we were in Italy at the start of the series, so hopefully they do pop up here and there. Let's just, while we're doing this, get the lights on. So we should see that other traffic coming. He's now showing up here. He's 20 miles out. He's going to pass 1,000 feet above us, just off our right side. There, oh, there he is. Yeah, that's the problem with the popular ones. Everyone wants to do it. There's that traffic. That is the EasyJet, 1,000 feet above. That's why going for something secondary like Heathrow would be busy, but if you'd looked at something like Birmingham, Manchester, Stansted, something like that, you'd probably be able to get it sooner, and at least you'd be doing it there, and then you could put in for Heathrow, but you'd have a place that you're already working out of. So options. I don't know how they would deal with that type of thing, but it's there. Still 0.4, slight headwind, bit of a crosswind, 11 knots total. So it's not unreasonable, although that's going to be a 10, 11 knot crosswind, which is fine. 26 degrees and clear, visibility is 10 plus, no ceiling, no clouds reported. 1009 on the barrow, and that's the current. Yeah, Dart got trained on Edinburgh. You could do that. I know when Luke did his, he did it at Birmingham. So there's places you can go that the weight isn't as great. I mean, they don't have the, you know, this is Heathrow. See, tower ground, I think would be easier because everything's sequenced, right? You get them in, you just file them in. Everything's in order. Landings, takeoffs, ground movements, or whatever. You can just drive them out. It's the approach and the center guys that have to deal with vectoring and moving everybody around, and guys passing through and guys descending down, and especially in the situation in VATSIM where you got to top down everything, right? So you're doing an airport, take you know, Birmingham. You're just dealing with Birmingham. So even approach is just dealing with Birmingham. You do center, like London Center or London Control, whatever they call themselves, Control. You're handling all the airports and all that, and that's a lot of work. Special kind of individual that does that work. That's for sure. All right, so you can see we're coming in. There's Cyprus there. We're just south of Antalya. I can see the coast there. Again, probably not coming across very well with the compression and everything on the YouTubes. Did have us down for a 59-minute airtime. We're at 28 minutes now, so we're not doing too bad. We're just saying we're about halfway. And just a note on the bar across the top, that is direct line distance. So when we took off and headed the other direction, it wasn't counting down any of the miles there, as would be track miles. All right, let's see what we got going on here at LCLK. So we got two outbounds. We got the, I don't know whose call sign that is, heading to LR. It's Romania. Then we got one going to Gatwick. That's fine. I think they're both in the air. And then there's the two of us coming in. I'm flying the 737 business jet, and although it didn't show it, Kevin is flying the 727-200. Put him in as a generic. He's cruising in behind. Yeah, I don't know what Yeah, I don't know what you would do in that situation. I guess you just go to higher up and request somebody else or stuff. But again, you might get dumped into the back of the line. You might not have anyone available. It's rather annoying. Anyway, we're coming up on 80 miles to top of descent, so let's start getting ourselves prepped for this. So we're going to come in now. We'll get the current weather, and I'll put it into the chat so we can all see it. And this is 26 minutes old, so fairly current. 330 at 11. Kavok 26 degrees. Dew point is 1009, and no significant changes forecast. So 1009, we'll get that in. And as I said, it's slightly favoring 04, so we're going to stick with that 04 entry. So that is done. Arrival data, we're going to pop down to the FMC. We'll bring up our init page over to our index and approach. Flaps 40 landing. We'll get that in and set. That is now in. Landing altitude is, let me just pull up the chart, 11 feet, so it's going to be 0, so we'll dial our landing altitude down to 0. That is now set. Radios, we're still on Unicom on COM 1 and guard channel on COM 2. Localizer, ILS frequency and course, not required. We are going into a RNP approach. However, we will set up the Larnaca VOR, that's 112.8. So we'll come down here, 112.8. It is now entered in. We can see it there. We turn the dial, we can see it. Now we're going to set that. That is set pretty much right on the runway. So we're going to use this for our runway center line is 040 degrees, so you can kind of see where that line is. And we're now going to come down here. While we're here, we'll go into our fixed pages, and that's going to be LCLK, Larnaca. We're going to do our 4-mile ring. That's where we have to be stable with everything done. And our 10-mile ring are in, and we're going to use the other line off the radial as our runway center line, so that is fine. Again, it's located pretty much right next to it. So engine intake is not required. Recall, no cautions, no warnings. MCP, we're going to set our altitude for our descent is going to be 2,000 feet. We'll get that in. (2,000 feet is set. Altimeters, we got it in 1009. Minimums for the approach, we're doing the LNAV, VNAV. We're a Category C aircraft. That's going to be 300 feet. So we'll set the barrel to 300. That's going to be 289 feet above the ground. There we go. And if you want to know where I'm getting all this information, I do have a series on how to read charts on the channel, so you can find that. And I go through all the different charts, taxi charts, approach plates, all that type of stuff, so you can find all the information you need. Mr. Approach, we're going to come straight ahead to LK 400, right turn to Amako. That's all going to be programmed in, and it's all waypoint stuff. We can see the blue lines there. It is set. Auto brakes. Runway length for today is 9,800 feet. We're going to be going down to apron 2, which is going to be the far apron. That's where general aviation and all that stuff is. So we can go auto brakes 2 for that. Probably get off around Delta, and if we miss that one, we've got Bravo. So we're going to go auto brakes 2, and they are set. All right, so we are good there. And we're about 40 miles to top of descent now. So we're going to fly down here towards Cyprus, and we're going to make the turn out here to the next waypoint for the, or the first waypoint for the RNAV. The reason we're doing this, we've got high terrain in here, so we're basically going to skirt around overhead the airport and then come around. I may do a little bit of manual initially. We'll see how it handles it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my heading indicator to 180. So when we hit the airport, if I have to, I can go into 180, extend out slightly over the water, and then curve back around for the intercept on the RNAV. So that is set there. And we're good. And we'll make our first call. We're going to be heading down just after Vadis. We'll make our first call at Bonnet, which is the entry point into the arrival. All right, we can see the island ahead. Oops, let's get the front view there. There's Cyprus. Cyprus is laid out east to west. It's narrow north to south, longer east to west. There's all the mountains are over here. And of course it's split in half between the Greeks and the Turks. Just more contention over the island over the centuries. Alright, oh, I got a thin layer of cloud out that way. Probably over the North African desert. Or the Middle East, whatever's off in this direction. I think if we follow this all the way out, yeah, we end up, is that Lebanon? Yeah. That's Lebanon directly ahead of across the water here. All right, Vadis is coming up. And then we're nicely on schedule. So let's look outside as we're coming in. You can see pretty much no cloud cover. It's been very good. And the moon, I believe, has risen. There it is up there, about a 3/4, coming up on a 3/4 moon. Looking very good. So weather has not been an issue so far on this series. We've had a couple very nice night flights. All right. As you can see, our restrictions here at Daros, we have to be above 9,000. Adlas, we have to be above 6,000. Otessa, we have to be above 5,000. At the airport, we have to be above 4,000. And then we are going to drop down to 2,000 by the intercept. All right, 1 mile to top of descent. So that's Nicosia, kind of the capital here. Is right there. The airport is on the coast, and Larnaca down right around there. So we're kind of heading straight to it at the moment. Maybe slightly further over this way. There we are heading down. We'll give the cabin a ding. Just let them know, although it would pick up on the angle of the aircraft and the sound of the engines. So we're going to pop up top. We'll kill those overhead lights now, so we can get our night vision back. And we're going to peg our speed at 280. Once we get there, we have no speed restrictions coming in, other than the usual 250 at 10,000. But we'll maintain 0.76 to 280, and then we'll switch over to 280 and hold there. And I do that with the manual because I don't like the way it sets the speeds as we're descending down. 777 seems to do it a lot better. There's 280, so we're going to go speed intervention, and we're going to switch it over. 280. And we're going to add a little bit of speed brake to keep our speed down at 280. We'll go 25% speed brake. You can see the train coming in. A little bit of turbulence here. Yeah, we get seatbelt signs on early. Probably getting a little bit of that wind coming off over the mountains here. Yeah, so we're gonna. It's gonna look like we're high coming in. That's because we have no height restriction. We just have lower level platforms we have to be on. So it's gonna keep us high as we come out and arc around. Roger that, Kevin. Alright, so you can see our first restriction 9,000 at Daros. We're 17 miles to Daros. We're just coming up on Bonnet. And that's where we'll make our first radio call. So there's a couple big stands up on apron 1 at the eastern end that look like they'll take us, but that's where we're going to park anyway, away from the terminal. Larnaca area traffic, Caribou 32 descending on the Bonnet 1 Alpha arrival. Overhead Bonnet descending through flight level 244, inbound for the RMP runway 04 Larnaca. See if there's a weather update while we're coming in. Nah, winds are about the same. Although it's dropped by 1 knot, so we're down to a 10 knot crosswind rather than an 11 knot crosswind. See some of these turns in here. We'll bring the speed down so we're not blowing through massive corners and everything as we do this as well. So at the add last, I'll bring the speed back to 250. Actually 245, because at 250 I can start dropping flaps, which will help with speed control. So that's us through Daros, 20,600 feet. So the airport is directly ahead. Right there is the airport. We're going to come in this way over the land, down and land. And then apron 1 is up at this end, and that's where we are headed. The terminal is down here. But we're going to go up to that end of the airfield. All right, we're going to start rolling that speed back to 245. A little bit of speed brake out. While we're doing that, we will, so I don't have to worry about it, we'll switch over to local pressure. See our turn there. And we'll be doing our own speed control here. There's 260. Descending down. All right, there's 245, so we're going to drop the speed brakes. We're going to bring out flaps 5. That's going to help with speed control. There's our turn now at LCA. We'll make the turn out towards Rimax. Continuing our descent and getting ready to loop at the other end and then come back in. And we're going to be looping around to LX 404. All right, so we're going to roll that speed back now to 200 knots. At 210, we'll go flaps 10. And currently on the board at Larnaca is us arriving plus another one out of Ben Guerin. Is that Ben Guerin? Yeah, looks like Ben Guerin. It's like the LL coming in, but he's far away. Not a concern. That speed slowly coming back. 10,000 feet coming up, so landing lights will come on, turn off lights will come on. We're going to turn on the logo lights and the wing lights as well. All right, below 210, so flaps 10. Just gonna watch the descent. Once we hit 10,000 feet, it should pick up. There she goes. Speed back to 185. And we'll come down to 10 miles. As soon as we hit Remax, we're going to make that turn. And once we get around that turn, we'll go into approach mode. Remax is also a hold point, but it's not required. So it's actually a feeder. 404, LK 404 is actually the entry point into the approach, so that's fine. There we go. There's our turn. Continuing our descent, turning out over the water. Roll that up, there's the coastline. There's the airport. So we're going to come around and then we'll come in the other way and pick up the RNAV for our arrival. Lot more options if we're coming in the other way, but the winds are just far enough around that it's favoring 04 instead of 22. There we are, there's the airport. Should take us around. Well, there we go. Descending down. I'm gonna keep on coming in. I don't see Kevin coming in yet. He's out there somewhere. All right. Going into approach mode, we have final approach course and glide path in. You can see both of them indicating here. All right, so nav course is in, speeds are within limits, speed brakes are now armed, approach mode is set, auto brakes are set, flaps are good. We're gonna bring our speed down to 165 now. I'm not sure why I'm still continuing to arc out towards the airport, so I'm gonna go bring this around to about there, and we're gonna go heading select. Let's see if it's gonna grab it now. Let's get the engine start selectors are over. Speed back to 165. Gear down. We're 10 miles. It's an ugly way of coming in on this. Let's gear down 3 green, flaps 15. We're descending. It's 9 miles. Course is slowly coming in. Flaps 25. .160, so our approach speed is going to be 124. Slowly coming in. I'm going to start bringing that down, let her start slowing. Alright, so lights are roll on, gear down 3 green, engines are continuous. It's all good, we're good up top. Speed brake, glide slope, approach mode, glide slope's alive, flaps are coming in. Your landing gear, go around altitude, and that was 2,000 feet, that's good. Almost on the final approach course, speed's coming back, flaps 30. And flaps full. Larnaca area traffic, Caribou 32 established on the RMP 04, 4 miles, Larnaca. There we go, final approach course is finally clicked in. It's in sensitive mode, so it'll get us lined up. 1,500 feet. Alright, as mentioned, we're going to get off at, we're going to aim for D, we're probably going to get off D or B, and we're going to go down to apron 2, sorry. And I'm going to be parking in stand 62. 1,000 to go. That wind is pushing from the...
Larnaca traffic, Bravo 32 Charlie Alpha, currently overhead of Tissa. We're inbound for the approach, viewer approach from 04.
Kevin's flying overhead. All right, well, we're finally all lined up. 124 degrees. We're within the 4-mile arc. Everything is good. We are stable. Gear down, 3 green flaps, full. Cabin is notified. Lights are all on. Runway is identified. .500 feet. I have control. Deal with that wind.
Approaching minimums. Minimums.
Continue.
$50, $30, $20, $10.
It's 90 knots. That's Delta. We're going to get off at Bravo. 60 knots, reversers off. Auto brakes disarmed. We'll let her roll. .50 knots. Alright, we are here at Bravo. We'll clear the runway.
Bravo 32 Charlie Alpha, overhead the field, turning outbound to establish on the outbound radius 201, inbound viewer approach, runway 04.
Larnaca area traffic, Caribou 32 is clear, runway 04 at Bravo. Alright, let's get the brakes on after landing. So, flaps are coming up, speed brakes disarmed and down, transponder to standby, position lights will go to strobe and steady, wing lights can come off. Landing lights and turn-off lights are off. Taxi light is on. APU, we will start. Anti-ice was not on. Probe heats are off. Engine start switches are off. And the auto brake is off. Clear that, clear that. And let's see if we can get GSX to give me a parking spot. There we go. We're at parking spot 62. All right. Larnaca area traffic, Caribou 32, taxiing to apron 2, parking stand 62 via Bravo, Charlie, and the apron. All right, David, have a good night. Thanks for coming by. All right. Let's get moving here. Hopefully we'll be able to see which way they're facing. That's them over there, I think. Which way are we going to want to go in here? So there's a front and a rear. So I think we go, yeah, we go around and then come in. So the first entry point is going to be Charlie Tango. We want the next one, which is Charlie Uniform. And it's the second one in. There's a couple other big spots here as well that Kevin can take. Oop, a little bit of a stutter. You can see we're right down on the water here. Looking very nice. Yeah, we're gonna come in the other way. Park out here. So it won't be the first one, it'll be the second one in.
Larnaca traffic Bravo 23 Charlie Alpha, so currently making our inbound turn, inbound for the VOR for Fortune 04.
Alright, so there's the first one. And here's the second one. Couple, yeah, with some really nice big spots here. So 82, 81, 71, 72 are all nice big spots here. Anyway, we're going to turn in. As we do that, we will kill the taxi light. I can't see. Does the line just end? Oh yeah, it does. That's why I can't see a line. Okay. We're gonna have to rely on this guy here. You can see Kevin's lights in the distance. Just gonna keep heading right towards this guy. And here we are. Welcome to Cyprus. All right, so let's get the brakes on. And we'll pop down into here and get your ground services. Chocks put in. Ground power coming out. Pop up top. Let's get the dome light on. All right, ground power is on. Come down here to our fuel control levers.
Larnaca traffic Bravo
Engine 2 and engine 1 are now off.
Currently 12 miles out.
All right, anti-collision light is now off. Ground equipment is coming in. Fuel pumps, we'll turn off everything except for the APU. We'll switch over to APU bleed for the air in the back. We're going to open the isolation valve. Recirc fan will go off. Main engine APUs will go off. Packs can also come off as we'll get air in through the door in a second. And we can pop down here. Flight controls will come off. And we can get them to come out here, get the doors open, get the stairs out. And they can start unloading the airplane for their weekend stay here. And there is the lights of Kevin coming in. Thanks very much for watching. Once again, we're back on Sunday. We'll be at 1400 hours Zulu. We'll be flying the Boeing 777 from San Francisco to Hawaii, and should be a good flight for that one as well. Thanks for watching this. If you want to come along and fly with us, all these live streams are open. You can get the information on the Discord, links in the description, and we're more than welcome to help you through there flying on VATSIM. As you can see, there's not a lot of ATC, so it's a good time to get used to doing it, connecting and flying with other pilots and everything, you're more than welcome to come along. Thanks again. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye for now.